Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming at you guys with my review for the series premiere of 10 Days in the Valley. Alright, so, this show didn't get a lot of attention, actually. I thought it would. I did hear it, a lot, like, advertised. I saw, at least, that, some people say they didn't, but, yeah, I saw it really, advertised, marketed a little bit, more than other shows than I've seen in the past. But, yeah, so, I tuned in live, on ABC tonight, and, tuned in, and, yeah, apparently not a lot of people did, so, I'm not sure, if that's good for the series or not. And I guess I can't really judge, right? We're just, I'm recording this just an hour after it aired. So, but anyways, yeah, my overall thoughts, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was, groundbreaking, my new favorite show. But I didn't think it was, bad. I thought it was good, right? Not great, not decent, good though, right? I really think that it really does play to a select audience, though, in my opinion. Excuse me, like, not a select audience, but I think a select audience would like this a lot more than most people. But yeah, that's just sort of my opinion of it, and yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much my initial thoughts of this. So yeah, I'm just gonna do a quick recap of the episode one here. So there will be a few spoilers, but not much. Like I'm not gonna spoil anything big. So if you haven't seen it yet, I get it. Some people just don't like spoilers at all. Like they turn off their phones before a show comes on that night or something, which I get as well. But if you're not one of those people and you're kind of just whatever. Anyways, I'm not gonna spoil too much, so I will put names and stuff like that, but you're gonna figure it out in the first 5 minutes of the show anyways, so not a big deal. But anyways, I'll do that, and then I'm gonna just go over some of my initial thoughts and my first thoughts of what I see here and what I think what potential it has in the future, how the series is looking, and then get to a rating, favorite character, typical stuff. And also, if you're new to the channel, I did my whole summer lineup of TV shows. I'm beginning my fall lineup as well. So please go check out those. If you watch any of those shows, please go check them out. I have other series premiere, pilot reviews as well. So if you want to go check out those and you haven't seen those shows, then go check out those. Maybe, you'll find a new show you like, something like that. I don't know. But anyways, let's get down to this. 10 Days in the Valley. So basically, start off, we meet the main character, Jane, and of course, she's played by Kyra Sedgwick, I think. Anyways, but basically, she is the spotlight of this, whole show. She executive produces it. She's one of the big executive producers. She stars in it. I'm not sure. I couldn't find if she's directs it. If she's directed a couple episodes this season, because there's not a lot of information about this show either out. So I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did direct an episode. Because you see that all the time with these stars who star, executive produce, they direct. It's really their show, right? And I think that's really true for her in this. So, and it kind of marketed it that way too, right? So that's what I'm saying about a select audience is I think if you like Kyra Sedgwick and you're a fan of her and you've seen stuff of her in the past, you're gonna love this show. Right, you're gonna absolutely love it, and a lot of people are happy about it too. With just I saw like before this even came on, people were hyped that she was coming back to TV and that she had this show. So yeah, I think those fans are gonna enjoy it a lot more than anyone else would, right? But I think other people are still gonna enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, right? But basically, the main character is Jane, and she's basically a screenwriter and a showrunner. I kind of, inferred of a show that's currently shooting. And she's also done, shows in the past that we learned. So she, she's an experienced screenwriter and basically a showrunner, basically. And yeah, she's just overloaded with the work she has to do, and is really troubled. Like just at the very beginning scene, I thought that was really powerful. I really liked that. And she's just really troubled. Like she just can't control, her mind. And she has all these thoughts bundled up, and she can't like relax for any point in time, right? She's always running really fast, so she's really bogged down with everything, and she's just really troubled right now. She's in a tough spot. And yeah, so we just see that like even from the first scene, right, of this episode. So then Jane's daughter, Lake, her name's Lake. I thought it was Blake when I was watching it, but apparently it's Lake. So, and then they call her Lake Lee. So yeah, I don't know. I've never heard the name Lake, but okay. Uh, so basically, daughter Lake comes home with her dad Pete. And he's played by Kik Gurry. So I've heard of him before, but I don't think I've seen anything of him. But I know that name from something. I'm sure I've probably seen him and just didn't know about it. But anyway, so Pete basically drops her off. And then we also learn that he was a user of something, right? We're not sure, alcohol, drugs, something like that. But we learn that now he's been sober for 6 months, or so he says. And basically, he gets the daughter on weekends now, because of the new agreement or something like that. And yeah, he does also have a reputation of, trying to argue with Jane, trying to get the daughter more, than he's, obligated, or no, more than he's allowed to in the agreement. He's took Lake without asking Jane before in the past. So that, of course, all sets up, the main thing of this episode. And also we learned that, he's got a key to the house before, and, she's just recently changed the locks. So, we just learned that, he's not an all-around good guy, right? I mean, I think he has the right intentions. He has, Lake, first in his heart. But I think he tends to do these, bad things, if for that reason, right? And I think that, he's trying to get back at Jane a little bit as well, right? So, yeah, definitely an interesting character there, though. So we see Jane and her daughter's relationship, that night after she gets dropped off. Really just a great mother-daughter, bonding that they have together. They end up falling asleep together in her bed. So, and the daughter even, says, if I fall asleep, will you leave or whatever? And she says no. And, we see that scene, where they go into the covers and they have, that was a nice scene. That was probably the warmest scene of the whole episode, really. The rest of it was kind of dark. And then basically Jane gets a phone call from her director, I assume, that she has to basically write a scene by 4 a.m. For the next day because, they've lost something or something like that with the show. They have a problem, so they need her to write a scene. And so, she really has no choice. So she gets up from the bed secretly, and she goes up to the shed where she writes in the backyard there. And she leaves her daughter sleeping in the bed, and she leaves the back door ajar, like a little bit open, right? So, and I was like, at this moment, I'm like, really? Like, I was just like mad at her at that point, right? Like, you left the door open, like really? And of course, we, if you watched any trailers or teasers or anything, you knew that the daughter gets kidnapped, right? I guess it's not really spoilery though, because that's like literally that's how they advertised that the daughter got kidnapped. So yeah, you knew that was going to happen. And so me, knowing that, I was like, she left the door open. Like, really? So anyways, frustrating scene there. So then we see, she's working in the shed there, and she falls asleep or something. She's having trouble. So she calls this kid on the bike to deliver her cocaine, so that, she can focus and write the scene on time. And so, he gives her the cocaine or whatever, and we learn that she has a history of it too, because he says he'll put it on your tab or whatever. So she's not I wouldn't say like a regular user, but we do know that she's done drugs and stuff before just to help her focus. And the kid seems super sketchy, right? I mean, you just get that impression right away that he's up to no good. And the actor who plays him is from We're the Millers, and I don't know, like, I love that movie. It's it's one of my favorite comedies, right? Of course, not well done movie, but one of my favorite comedies. I just think it's hilarious, and he's the guy, No Regrets. So if you've seen it and you get that, then yeah, he's that guy, and he was hilarious in that. So I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up, and I recognized him right away. I'm like, that's the kid. But anyways, yeah. So basically, she finishes the scene then after she does this coke, and she heads back to the back door of her house, to go back in and go to sleep, and it's locked, right? That she left the door open a little bit, and now it's locked and closed, and all the doors in the house are now locked. So, she's kind of panicking here, so she smashes a brick on the glass on the door, and gets, the door unlocked and gets in. She goes to the bedroom where her daughter is sleeping, and she's missing from the bed, So this was sort of the big scene that kind of sparked, the whole episode and the whole show really. And yeah, so then it becomes a big question, and she starts panicking, and yeah, basically the whole rest of the episode then is sort of the after effects of that event, right? And I think they could have got to that a little bit sooner, to be honest, but it is what it is, right? It was like the middle of the episode when that happened, and then I felt like we could have seen a little bit earlier. I felt like some of that stuff in the beginning, was just not relevant, but it is, it is what it is. So then her sister comes over, and she actually calls the police to report that Jane's husband took her daughter. So they think that this is pretty easy, right? They think that Pete took her, especially because he talks about, taking the daughter to the cabin or whatever, and Jane wasn't going to let him. So, he has motive, right, to come to get his daughter and, take her, I guess. So they're not too worried, right? Jane's not too worried. She knows she thinks that she knows that it's Pete, and it's basically all solved. But then, we meet Detective John Bird, and I'm so sorry, like, I don't stand a chance here at this name pronouncing, but the actor who plays him, Adewale Aki Nue Ajbaji. I'm so sorry, like, honestly, but yeah, that's the actor's name, and he plays John Bird, and basically he's put on the case of finding the daughter, right? And so, he comes to the house, and Jane basically, tells him all, what happened, and the case seems like an easy one, right? I think he even thinks it's pretty easy, he thinks that, Pete, the husband, took her, and basically, the whole case is just they have to contact Pete, get him to the station or whatever, and get the daughter back. And whatever, they think it's a typical custody thing, and it's gonna be, quick case, and they're gonna get this daughter back, but obviously it doesn't end up being that, and yeah, so basically then we see more of Jane's workload and her typical day, really, as she comes to the set of her show, and then she reviews the script in the writer's room with a bunch of the other, writers and stuff, so that was kind of cool. I'm interested in that sort of thing, the whole television and the writing and all that, so I found that really interesting, but people who aren't, I don't know if you would really, like that, but I really like that part, right? I thought it was really interesting, the way they depicted that and all that. And yeah, so we just see that, she's really bogged down with everything. Her workload's crazy, and, she's just way overworked at this point. And then all of a sudden, Detective Bird calls her and tells her that it wasn't Pete that took her daughter, and that he has a legitimate alibi, right? And he was with a friend till 4 or something like that, so he wasn't the one who did it. He did not take your daughter, and of course, this is just crazy, right? Because Jane thought the whole time, okay, it was my husband or whatever, didn't think it was a big case, so did even that detective, really, right? Detective Bird. And yeah, so basically, panic, ensues here, chaos ensues, and this basically jump starts the show and begins to make it, a whodunit kind of type of show, right? And yeah, we've seen that before, but I think this is a unique look on it, for sure. So yeah, basically becomes a whodunit from there. We see a little bit more of that, but I'm just gonna fast forward to the end, right? And this is where the spoilers kind of begin, right? This is the spoilery part of the of the thing. So if you just want to skip a few seconds ahead, I don't blame you. But yeah, at the very end, basically the big reveal of this episode is we find out that Jane's assistant, Casey, who's by the way played by Emily Kinney, Walking Dead fans, you definitely know her, really glad that she got another project. I haven't seen her in like barely anything since Walking Dead. So I'm really glad that she got another project, and she was great in this episode. I really like, her as an actress. I think she just does a great job in all her roles. And I think they put her in a good role in this show too. But anyway, so we learn that her assistant Casey and Pete are actually together. So her husband and her assistant are together secretly, and that Pete basically tells her to lie to the cops so that he has an alibi. So she tells him, I wasn't here till 4 a.m. like you said I was, but he basically is kind of forcing her to say that. So yeah, obviously we know that they're in love, and Casey is going to do it for him. So it's going to be interesting, but it also makes him seem really guilty, right? Like, why would he, tell her that to lie if he didn't do it, right? So definitely interesting, and that was a great ending to the episode, and really a good reveal too. I'm happy that we got something this episode to kind of lead to that investigation. So we'll have to see, but yeah, good ending there, and I'll just share my my initial thoughts in a rating. All right, so some of my first thoughts of this episode, this pilot. I thought it was good acting all around. I think the whole cast did a good job. But my thing is, there wasn't a lot of screen time for the cast other than Kyra Sedgwick, right? She kind of was the leading force in this one. The second most would maybe even be the detective John Bird for screen time purposes, but I don't know. I thought there was good acting when they were on screen, but I felt like there just wasn't enough. I mean, it did, yeah, it's a show focusing on Kyra Sedgwick's and her character Jane. But I felt like, we could have seen a little bit more of the other actors. I am exaggerating a little bit, right? There is screen time for the other guys, for the other cast, but there wasn't, I think I counted like 2 or 3 scenes in total that weren't with Kyra Sedgwick in it, right? So I don't know. I thought it was good acting. I just think that they could have, put a few more scenes in there and maybe split it up a little bit. And that's where I come to my point again with Kyra Sedgwick fan. If you're not a fan of hers, I don't really know how you tune in week to week to the show, right? So that's just my point there. So positive and a negative there. I thought, but we have to touch on this. Great spotlight performance by Kyra Sedgwick. I mean, she's playing the role amazingly. And I just like to say that I really felt like, obviously I don't have a daughter, right? But I felt like, I really, I felt like I was in that scene, when she goes in there, checks the bed, and her daughter is gone. Like, I felt like, I was really there, and that was, sort of happening to me. And that's crazy when you're watching a show and you can actually feel the way, the actor or the character is feeling. That's pretty crazy. And I did in that scene. I thought it was a really powerful scene. And I thought Kyra Sedgwick was just amazing in that, in her role. So, yeah, great spotlight performance by her in this one. She got a lot of screen time, but it was totally deserved. She did such a great job, and she's just such a great actress. So then, my next one could have been a little bit more background to the characters. I thought, maybe some past with Jane and Pete, show maybe just even one flashback of, maybe how they broke up, maybe showing, their daughter, watching them fight or something like that, right? That's what I kind of was thinking. But we didn't really see that. We didn't see much background. And that's the thing with these pilots, right? You don't see a lot of background of the characters. You just kind of, put into it and kind of expected to roll with it, which is fine as long as, the next few episodes, they touch on some background and they give us, some material for these characters, right? So that you can connect to them a little bit more. So I don't have a problem right now, but the next few episodes, if they fail to do that, there may be a problem there, right? You may not feel that same connection that you feel, with some other shows that do touch on the background and stuff like that. So yeah, that's just, a little negative, no nitpicking there. I thought the whole episode, seemed really hectic. Like just because we're in the, Jane's basically point of view here, right? And, she is hectic, her whole life is hectic. And yeah, it just felt like really, really, hectic. Everything's, kind of caving in on Jane. And I thought it was kind of depressing at times too, right? For Jane, like, all this stuff is happening to her, the stuff with the show and all that's going on. And then, the stuff with Pete as well. And then her daughter gets taken. Like, what else could be, worse that is going to happen to her, right? Like, it's just everything is kind of coming to a head here, and Jane's, right in the middle of it. So it did feel kind of depressing. And again, good, that's a good writing and good acting there for it to feel that way and kind of have that, mood to it and tone. But if you're tuning in on Sunday night for entertainment or something like that, maybe you don't want to see, sort of that dark. I don't know. I guess that is kind of what the show is, but so we just see that she's really out of control, and you do feel sorry for her too, right? That's part of that as well, and I definitely did. I did feel bad, so for sure. That was a good storyline, really suspenseful, creates a lot of mystery here, right? With, we're already seeing some of the characters, we're seeing her husband, and, now that he's with the assistant, so we're definitely seeing, some very, mysterious things here, and they really didn't give too much away here. The only thing they really gave, the only reveal that they gave is the ending, right? They really did not give anything else away. We really have no idea, who took her. We do see that scene, of course, where she's being read to in some, room. So, I mean, I guess that's another reveal there, but we didn't really see anything. We didn't see the guy or whatever. And who knows if that's even the guy who took her, right? So I feel like there's going to be a lot to this story, and there's going to be a lot more than what seems to be on the surface here for this, right? I think it's going to be quite a bit deeper than what we think. I think there's going to be a lot of twists, and I think that there's going to be multiple people involved in this kidnapping here. So yeah, but I really like the way it didn't give too much away, and that it's really mysterious, and create a lot of suspense for us for next week, and for the rest of the show to find out the answer, right? And I like the way it's a TV show inside a TV show. I like that, and I like the movies that are like a movie inside of a movie. There's some ones out there that do that. And yeah, I just find the behind the scenes stuff cool. Honestly, like I said, I'm kind of interested in that sort of thing, television, screenwriting, and all that. So it really, pertains to me. I thought that was a really interesting aspect of the show, and I like that, they're going at a whodunit with that sort of unique twist, right? So the show kind of has two ways, right? It's about her being a showrunner and all that, and the whole TV part of it, but then it's also, of course, about her daughter being kidnapped, right? And her trying to get her back. So yeah, but I thought that was a really cool part of the show. I like that they went that route, and I thought the ending was great. I thought it ended on a cliffhanger, right, with the assistant and the husband being together. You did not expect that at all, and really makes you want to watch next week, right? I was hooked. At that ending, I was like, okay, like this is all right. This is pretty serious. I want to find out what happens next. And it really wasn't one of those endings where it's like, okay, I watched the episode now. I don't know, I'll tune in. It was definitely, for me at least, it was definitely a scene where you're like, okay, all right, like let's get on to the next episode, right? So, yeah, I thought it was a great cliffhanger to end the episode. And yeah, I just like that they didn't give too much away in this, right? I feel like they gave us just enough to get us interested, and then the payoff is going to come later. So, yeah, I really like that as well. That's basically the end of my first thoughts, and just my general thought with this show as a whole. I think if you're not a Kyra Sedgwick fan, if you don't like her, you won't like this show. I just don't think there's a way for you, to watch this show and enjoy it still with not being a fan of Kyra Sedgwick. Like, the show's really focused on her, and she's going to be a main part of this show. So I just don't see how that's possible. So maybe this isn't for you if you're not a fan of her. But if you are a fan of her, she does not disappoint. Like, this is definitely for you if you're a fan of her. And if you're indifferent about her, kind of like me, I knew about her, of course. I've seen some stuff of hers, but I'm kind of indifferent, right? I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not a hater or anything. But yeah, I enjoyed it, right? Because she's such a great actress as well, and she really displays that. So if you're indifferent to it, definitely I'd say give it a chance. But that's just my thinking, right? It is to a kind of a select audience would enjoy it more than the other part of the audience, right? The part that doesn't like her and that maybe feels indifferent to her, that they're not too big of fans. So that's just sort of my main general thought, my main insight of this show, right? For people who haven't watched it yet. My rating for this episode, and obviously this includes a little bit more of what I saw in the series. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. Yeah, I didn't think it was a perfect or anything. I didn't think it was a 5. But yeah, like I said, it was definitely not bad. Like, I don't mean it like that. Like, it wasn't bad. But it wasn't great, right? It's kind of in between. It was a good, right? But definitely suggest it, right? I mean, definitely. But yeah, I kind of already shared my thoughts. So yeah, that is what it is. 4.5 out of 5. Yeah. Like I said, definitely suggest it. Definitely watch it, and see what you think of it for sure. Favorite character for this one is going to be Jane, of course, the main character, played by Kyra Sedgwick. And I've already talked about her acting and stuff, but yeah, she was great in this episode. Going to be great in the whole series. She's just really a great actress, who I feel doesn't get as much recognition as she really deserves. To be honest, I haven't heard of her much before, and I feel like I definitely should have. So maybe that's just me. Maybe everyone else has heard of her and knows about her, but for me at least, I haven't really heard a lot about her. And just this performance in this episode shows me that she deserves a lot more attention than she has. And I thought the character is really great too, really dynamic. We learn a lot about her. we basically are in her perspective for this whole episode. So, yeah. But anyways, yeah, I really like her character. I think it's definitely a compelling character for sure. So yeah, that is basically the video for this. That'll just about wrap it up. Sorry for this one being a little long. I try to keep these premiere videos a little bit shorter because I know, people that don't tune in are not, you're not gonna watch, not gonna want to watch, a long video of me kind of explaining, suggesting it. But anyways, yeah, apologize for that, but it is what it is. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. And definitely check out my recent videos on my channel if you're new to the channel and you're just here for the first time. Definitely my summer lineup, and I'm just starting my fall lineup of TV shows. So if you see any of those shows, you watch those shows, please go back, watch a couple reviews, let me know what you think of them by, commenting there. And definitely let me know what you think of this show as well. Comment down below. And yeah, and I also like to thank, you guys for the recent support of my videos. Really appreciate it. And the channel is really just growing, recently, like really growing. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, it makes me really happy. So anyways, guys, thank you again for watching. And yeah, I'm not going to be doing this show week to week, by the way. But I will probably be doing a season recap, probably sharing my thoughts of the whole season, what's ahead maybe. So yeah, definitely, subscribe if you want to see that. That obviously that'll be coming in like, I don't know, 8 weeks or 10 weeks. I think they have 10 episodes, so it'll be a little bit down the road, but for sure, subscribe if you want to see that. Come back for that, and yeah, but that'll just be about it for this show. I don't think I'm going to be doing it week to week, but anyways, like I said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in the next review.
If I get too high now, sugar, come on. I might never come down. I might never come down.